Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you've been thinking the AI revolution kind of peaked with chatbots, well, you really need to see what's happening right now in 2026. We are watching a massive, and I mean massive, tech domino effect. It all kicked off with OpenAI making this insanely aggressive pivot. They are transforming from a consumer app company into a heavyweight corporate consultancy, and it's tearing up traditional deal cycles, sparking wild corporate drama, and quite literally breaking the physical infrastructure of the internet. We're going to dive right into how this DeployCo consulting move is rewriting the entire tech stack from the ground up.
Okay, let's start with the money. $4 billion. That is the staggering initial investment fueling OpenAI's brand new majority-owned consulting subsidiary, appropriately named DeployCo. And the backers, it's an unprecedented coalition. Bain Capital, Goldman Sachs, SoftBank, McKinsey. This absolutely isn't some experimental side hustle for OpenAI. It's a highly capitalized, totally deliberate shift away from consumer products like standard ChatGPT and a direct assault on the heart of Fortune 500 enterprise operations. They are playing to own the entire business integration layer. And the way they're executing this is fascinating. They aren't just selling a software license and walking away. OpenAI is literally dropping their own engineers straight into the headquarters of major corporations. They acquired an applied AI consulting firm called Tomorrow, took their 150 engineers, and instead of keeping them in Silicon Valley, they are using them as forward-deployed engineers. They're completely bypassing traditional software-as-a-service middlemen to build custom AI workflows right on the client's local servers. It's an incredibly hands-on, boots-on-the-ground strategy.
Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter to me? Well, if you are a non-developer working in an enterprise setting, you are now the primary target user for these tools. OpenAI has expanded its Codex platform way beyond just helping software engineers. Product managers are using it to write and test specs. Lawyers are having it draft and review legal documents. Data analysts are running complex queries, and operations teams are automating tasks across entirely different systems. Actually, non-developers now make up a full 20% of Codex's users. AI is coming for every single role in the corporate ecosystem.
Section 1. The Agentic Boom, Scaling Beyond Traditional Deal Cycles. According to McKinsey's 2026 M&A Trends report, standard corporate acquisitions are just way too slow now. The AI market is moving so incredibly fast that high-performing companies aren't even trying to buy the whole tech stack anymore. Instead, they're surviving by cultivating agile M&A strategies. They get strategic access to critical tech through minority stakes, ecosystem partnerships, or what we call acqui-hires, where you essentially buy an entire company just to get your hands on their top-tier engineering talent. To put that into perspective, just look at the jaw-dropping scale of capital being thrown around right now. Take Cursor AI. SpaceX negotiated a massive $60 billion option to buy them outright or pay $10 billion just for joint development work, all so SpaceX can run custom models on their own private servers. Then you've got Cognition, the team behind the AI software engineer Devin, sitting at a $26 billion valuation with clients like the US military. Waymo raised another $16 billion, and OpenRouter is churning through 25 trillion tokens a week. The money flowing into these autonomous systems is genuinely historic. So why are these valuations skyrocketing to the moon? It all comes down to enterprise process automation. AI companies have figured out that while helping coders write code is a fantastic business, automating standard everyday business processes, HR, finance, legal, the whole shebang, is infinitely more lucrative. We are talking about a target addressable market that is roughly 10 times larger than just AI-assisted software development. That is the massive gold rush everyone is sprinting toward right now.
Section 2. Corporate drama, the divergent strategies of OpenAI and Anthropic.
So naturally, this brings us to the intense rivalry between the two biggest independent players. Their strategies couldn't be more different. On one hand, OpenAI is getting its hands dirty with the DeployCo consultancy, physically sending those forward-deployed engineers into corporate HQs for custom integrations. On the other hand, Anthropic has confidentially filed for a U.S. stock market IPO, and they're aiming for a valuation over $1 trillion. To woo Wall Street, Anthropic is leaning super hard into cybersecurity utility, like their Project Glasswing, while publicly pledging to keep their Claude AI completely free of consumer odds. And this corporate tension isn't just staying in the boardroom anymore. It is spilled out into a very public, full-on brawl. Anthropic literally bought a multi-million-dollar Super Bowl ad campaign specifically to mock OpenAI's plans to put ads in ChatGPT. That's a wildly aggressive marketing move, and it drew a very sharp, immediate rebuttal from Sam Altman. It just goes to show you exactly how fiercely these giants are fighting to win over the minds of enterprise buyers. And honestly, the stakes are totally justified by the data. Semi-Analysis just reported a staggering stat. Anthropic's Claude Code is now autonomously authoring 4% of all public commits on GitHub. Think about that for a second. 4% of all public software updates globally are currently being written by a single AI agent. We have absolutely crossed a major inflection point here. Agents are genuinely starting to dominate information work. So how are they pulling off that 4%? Well, these aren't just simple chatbots anymore. They are highly capable parallel processing digital workers. Claude Opus 4.8 introduced dynamic workflows for parallel subagents, meaning the AI basically clones itself to work on different parts of a huge task at the exact same time. And its new fast mode operates 3 times cheaper. Over in the sciences, Opus 4.7 is matching specialized platforms in predicting complex molecular structures. And in cybersecurity, their unreleased Claude Mythos model just identified over 10,000 critical software vulnerabilities in things like power grids and water systems with over 90% accuracy. The capability leap we are seeing is just breathtaking.
Section 3. The Infrastructure Panic. $84 billion raises and broken megadeals.
With software capabilities skyrocketing like that, it creates a massive physical bottleneck. Just wrap your head around this number. Google's parent company, Alphabet, recently proposed a nearly $85 billion equity capital raise. What on earth is that massive war chest for? Solely to expand their AI infrastructure and compute power. The sheer demand to run these autonomous agents is so huge that even the wealthiest companies on the planet have to raise unprecedented amounts of cash just to buy enough servers to keep the lights on. And the hardware ecosystem supplying all those servers? It is incredibly volatile right now. Case in point, an anticipated historic $100 billion deal between chipmaker NVIDIA and OpenAI completely collapsed, just fell apart. This sent NVIDIA's stock plummeting 10% instantly, amid reports that OpenAI was dissatisfied and actively looking for alternative chip suppliers. Every major player is scrambling for leverage because, quite frankly, compute is the new oil. Sitting very comfortably right in the middle of all this chaos is Amazon. AWS now hosts both OpenAI's frontier models and Anthropic's Claude on the very same cloud console. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Fortune 500 enterprises no longer have to negotiate separate API deals with competing AI labs. AWS has positioned itself as the true kingmaker here. They are the ultimate middleman holding the corporate purse strings, deeply embedding themselves as the unshakable foundation of this entire AI rollout. Section 4. The Silicon Shift. How inference changes the data center. This explosion of agents is also fundamentally restructuring data centers physically. Intel shared a brilliant insight on this. Back during the training era of AI, data centers were built with about 1 standard CPU for every 4 massive GPUs, because the whole focus was just chewing through massive datasets to build the models. But today, we're in the agentic inference era. The models are built, and they're running continuous, real-time autonomous tasks out in the wild. This has shifted the hardware ratio to roughly 1 CPU per 1 GPU, meaning the traditional CPU is making a massive, powerful comeback in the data center. But here's the thing. Even with redesigned data centers, running billions of autonomous agents entirely in the cloud, yeah, that's both thermally and economically impossible. You'd literally melt the servers and bankrupt the operators. So the industry is quickly adopting what's called the compute continuum. It's a hybrid architecture that dynamically routes workloads. Super heavy, complex tasks get sent to the centralized cloud, but lighter or highly private tasks, those get pushed right down to local neural processing units, or NPUs, sitting right inside your laptop or smartphone. And the practical takeaway here for enterprises is all about the bottom line. By utilizing edge computing and keeping basic AI processing on those local, on-device NPUs, companies are seeing up to a 60% reduction in token usage for tasks like code generation. Plus, it brings a massive 4 times reduction in operational costs. Pushing compute to the edge is quite literally the only way this AI rollout remains financially viable for everyday business use. Section 5. The Quantum Horizon. Preparing for 2029. So, looking ahead, how does the industry permanently solve this compute bottleneck? We started with those massive centralized cloud GPU bottlenecks. Right now, we're easing the pressure using the hybrid compute continuum with edge NPUs. But step 3, the real holy grail for unlocking exponential AI growth, is the seamless integration of quantum coprocessors into our existing computing environments.
And the foundation for that quantum leap is literally being poured right now in 2026. IBM just received a proposed $1 billion federal award to build a U.S. quantum wafer manufacturing foundry. On top of that, IBM themselves are throwing down a $10 billion investment to hit their quantum Starling milestone by 2029. Meanwhile, companies like Quantunium are already releasing the software needed to bridge this upcoming quantum hardware directly into the high-performance AI cloud workflows that are being built today. The transition is totally underway.
Which brings us to one final really provocative question. If OpenAI is parachuting engineers into businesses today to build systems where AI agents autonomously write their own code, build their own apps, and even route their own hardware usage to quantum processors, well, who will the enterprise consultants of 2030 actually be talking to? Will they be consulting the human CEOs, or will they just be optimizing the agentic workforce? It's a lot to think about, but as we've seen throughout this explainer, that future is arriving much, much faster than traditional deal cycles can even comprehend. Thanks for joining me today. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next one.